that saying, no money, no love. In other words, if you don't have money, you can never get some of these, good looking ladies. Why? Because money has defined us and made us feel like if you don't have it, well, you don't deserve anything. But that's a deception. Like I said, we are unveiling the deception of money. So I want us to take serious note of certain things that I'm going to talk about. Also in relation with the very first topic that I talked about, which is He's coming soon. So much as we love money, we should also find time for our God, because He is the author, the perfecter, the finisher, the first and last. So with that in mind, we need to remember what we are talking about, the deception of money. Now, I would say that money gives us false promises. Yeah. Let's start with the promise money whispers into our ears, because money does have a voice and it does whisper things. It's deception or it's not. Does whisper. And money says, if you get more of me, you will finally be happy. That of money, and they have fallen to that voice. It says, if you get more of me, you will be happy. But what it ask that if you have more money, you'll be happy? We'll digest into that and see, is it really true that money makes you happy? Look around. Some of the wealthiest people in the world are some of the miserable people, most miserable people in the world. They are the wealthiest, but they are the most miserable people in the world. Suffering with depression, broken families, sleepless nights. Money can't heal a broken soul. So today we are dealing with the deception of money, and I want us to unveil it so that we learn to live lives that are balanced. Like I said, if we give the weight of money so much weight and then the weight of life so low, guess what? We'll always have that imbalance, and anything that is not balanced can always tip the other off, So we need to find a balance between money and the life that God has given us. Because to all of us, God has given us life. But what do we do with that life? Like I said, welcome guys who have just joined, and we are dealing with the deception of money. And I'll give you a slot where we will read all your comments and it will be more interactive. So hang in there, write your comments. I will read them with time. Otherwise, if we think that money, because money has a voice, like I said, and in that voice it says that we find more of me. But I said, you have to note that the richest people are the most miserable people at the same time. They are really miserable. They can't sleep. They are depressed. They have broken homes or families, and yet they have the money. On the outlook, it looks like they've got it all together. But guys, that is the deception of money, and we are going to unveil it. Money says, if you have me, people will respect you. That is the voice of money. But is respect bought? That's something we need to ask ourselves. Envy can be bought. Attention can be bought, But true respect is earned through character, not currencies. So people do really strive. There's this man that I met one time, and he said, I want to grow up and make so much money for myself that I'm respected in the area where I come from. And then you wonder, is respect bought? It cannot be bought. Respect is earned. Every single time you earn the respect through your character. If you're a good person, people will respect you, even when you've not blown around money. I'll give an example. I come from Uganda, and we are going through campaigns right now, and politicians are spending money, literally buying the votes. But there are people are after, that they love with all their hearts. I mean, I'm an observer, and on the outward, I get to watch some gatherings where people are not paid and they are right there supporting. People are right there coming to see their candidates. And there are those candidates that have given money literally out, who have gone ahead and transported people to come on their rallies so that they can look or appear like they have numbers. So that is the deception of money. It cannot buy you respect if you lose it. but it can buy you other things, like we will mention. Money says, if you secure enough of me, you will never have to worry again. That is what some money says. Yeah. It says, if you have enough of me, you will never have to worry again. But is that true, guys? Because people do worry about money on a daily basis. They worry. You know, the more money you get, the more you're worried that let me first get my mic straight, because the sound, I'm told the sound is not sounding very well. I hope it is better now. Okay. Money says, sorry about that. Money says, if you secure enough of me, you will never have to worry again. Yet, how many rich people still worry every single day? Yeah, about their money? Because the more money you have, I mean, I've seen some rich guys who don't even sleep at night. They are worried they are scared of going bankrupt or waking up and they are not rich anymore and they can't sleep. There is this gentleman that I knew that would not even go out to, a party, either it's a birthday party, wedding, but was quick to go out on burials. I don't know whether that was ceremonial for him to do that, but there are some people who really rob of themselves the joy that money would ideally bring, like a happy home, like happy kids, good friends. Money can really get to that and get you to that place of deception where you put it way up there and the rest of the family or other things that are important too low. Yeah. Yet, I would say, the more you have, the more you fear to lose. People who have money don't even sleep, but those who don't enjoy their sleep. I mean, I see these gatherings at rallies of people who have come to support their candidates without being paid a single coin. And they come in big numbers and they are giving to make sure their candidates go through or get to go to places or campaign. And yet there are those who have money and are throwing it around, but have low numbers, when it comes to the campaigns and support. So money can buy you a lot of things, but it cannot buy you respect, just as we think. The deception is clear. Money promises peace. Money promises love. Money promises joy and security, but it cannot truly deliver. I mean, there's a friend of mine who said, once I get the money and buy that big house and then buy that car and get those investments going, then I would find someone to live with. That is also a deception. And I'm hoping he's hearing and he drops that whole idea, because there are people who have put their lives on hold and pursued money. And guess what, guys? Life doesn't necessarily wait for you, because there are those who have tried to get a balance. You start that family, you get that nice woman who is able to stick with you through thick and thin, and then do life together. As opposed to when you have got all the money and then you try looking for a lady. Guys, it is very easy to find love if you put it that way, that love, if you have money. I mean, money will attract people left, right, and center who don't really care about you, because it gets to a place where even friends come to you simply because they know when they go out, you will be the one to treat them, or they know you fund that trip to, Spain, or they, even if it comes to ladies coming and getting married to you, as long as you have that nice house and that car, you will get that lady. But does it guarantee that that lady loves you or will love you? I don't think so. At the end of the day, you get to realize that money doesn't buy many things as we think. I wanted also to say that if it can, I wanted to give you a story about deception. Let me share a couple of real life stories just to get the message home. There was a man who worked day and night building his business empire, and he neglected his wife. He neglected his children. When it came to sports days, concerts, the man, even the children knew that our dad is always working. to provide. I know it is key that we provide, guys, and you gentlemen that are listening in, that you provide. Sorry, guys, about my sound. It went off, and thank you for hanging in there. It really means a lot. My sound sometimes is not the best, but I hope you can hear me now. And like I was saying, this gentleman invested in a lot, even with his putting his wife on the side. I know, like, we need to find a balance, because then the lady, they grew apart, and could not connect with him anymore, because he was always working, going overseas, business meetings, missing children's plays, missing concerts. I know those are small things, but they do count. At some point, they start counting, and we need it, all of us. Now, what happened to this gentleman is he ended up getting a divorce because the woman felt lonely, and the man could not understand why she's not happy when he's providing. And the kids were disturbed, getting wild at school, because they lacked that father figure who was going to point them in the right direction that they would go. So he ended up losing the kids became defiant and distant. And the mom, the wife. Now, that was okay for starters, because eventually, after 40 years, the man really made it as a multimillionaire. His dream came true. But he was also down with ill health, because while he was going through those hectic schedules, not taking care of himself, he was getting ill slowly by slowly. Now, 40 years down the line, he had the money. He was living in that big house and driving the fanciest cars, the posh cars that you could think of, because he could afford them. But the price was no marriage. Yeah, he was living in his big house, alone. The kids had grown up and left home, and the kids were not considering much of him. Why? Because he was always absent. So we need to find a balance, guys, when it comes to money, because he would ideally have had his wife, because after 40 years, you get that money, fine. But then what happens after you've got the money is you're alone. I remember someone saying that money is better when you enjoy it with those that you love and those that love you. When you have money, you are surrounded with so many people. It is even hard to know who is really there for you because they love you, or who is there for you because of the money. It is a bit confusing. It's a thin line where you don't know who exactly cares for you, because you get to realize everyone is on a payroll somewhere, either your PR or, as well, that if you don't help them out, they stop, getting in touch. You realize that everyone somewhere who is in your life once you have money is being paid by you somewhere. So that is not a very comfortable state to be or place to be. So I'm trying to unveil the deception of money. This man, once he got the money, he had no health, no family, and no, because his wife had gone, so they had divorced, and all that was empty. Because anyone else you get when you have money there are no guarantees that they really care about you. Yeah. And he spent all his money now trying to sort out these medical bills that he could now afford, but his health is really going down very fast. I also know of a friend, I went visiting them some time back, and all they would put on their menu is beans, posho, and green banana or matoke. Yeah, that is what they would eat all the time. And then I was wondering, they're working so hard, they are having all this money. You don't need a lot of money to live a reasonable life, one that is not degrading. But they would eat posho, beans, and matoke. They would buy a full sack of beans, get a bunch of matoke and a sack of posho, and that is what was on a regular in their house. Meanwhile, they were building apartments. And when I talked to her one time, she said, well, I'm trying to plan for my future so that when I retire, I'm this rich jaja or grandma who has money. Well, you may not even live to enjoy that money that you've worked so hard for because you didn't take care of yourself. So we need to learn how to find a balance. I mean, it is not so expensive for you to treat yourself to some fish and have, fish, or have some chicken once in a while, and change up on that menu. You can't be like, I'll eat this better menu when I'm in my 60s, because there are no guarantees that you will be even there to see 60. I mean, I had that dream that told, if you've not watched my videos, and someone was waking me up and saying, wake up and prepare, for it is time to take kinesia or charge. So if God is to come now and you've saved all this money, oh my goodness, you suffered. You need to find a balance where you eat some, invest some, and create a balance. Otherwise, money can really be deceptive. It even guarantees you that you'll be there tomorrow when the one who is up there has not, endorsed on you being there tomorrow. So that balance is good. And another story, an ordinary woman who won the lottery. Yeah, there was that lady who won the lottery, and from nothing, she became a millionaire. Yeah. And you would think her life turned into a dream, right? I think that's what you would think, because from nothing, she got money. Well, wrong, because her life did not flip just like that. Relatives she hadn't heard from in years called because they got to know that she landed some money. Yeah, they came knocking, and friends turned into enemies because then envy and jealousy had kicked in. And then everyone wanted a piece of her wealth. Within a few years, the money was gone. And so were all the people who she thought loved her. That is why I say money can bring, there's a way money attracts people, and not necessarily good people all the time. So you need to have your circle and learn it and know who is really there for you, who really loves you, who will stick with you through thick and thin. Because once the money was gone, all these people disappeared. And she was by herself. Also, I bet all of you have stories of people who are in the limelight and had money and don't have it anymore, and how it felt when they got lonely at their lowest. So people can really quickly disappear, but we need to keep those circles really tight of those people who are there for us when things are not good, when we don't have all that money offers. Because those ones who loved you when you had nothing will love you even when you have a lot. And the money you enjoy, the way you enjoy money when you are with those people who you know. I have a friend, I actually went to school with him, and he was talking to me and he said, I have suffered in life. I have looked for